Good morning. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for taking some time out of your morning to kind of go over some key 5 areas that we're looking to cover today. So we'll roll into a little bit of market transformation, go into key trends and really how these products coming out of Japan are being used in the market. And then Steve will go over some overviews of our wire-to-board product offering and go into some details on the MicroLock Plus. So first, market transformation. When we originally started developing these products, we were heavily focused on the mobile phone market. And as the mobile phone market started to progress, it really allowed us as a society to start capturing data, start capturing information. Now we're going into the era of intelligence and really using that information and that data to connect systems, climate control, safety system, entry systems. Not only what started off in our home, now is growing into multiple different markets, medical, building automation, factory floors, all to optimize systems and how they collect data to make them more efficient, cost savings that offers a lot of benefits to customers who are using that. Even looking at it at the cars, you have more systems in the cars that are allowing it to come autonomous, radar systems, LiDAR systems, camera systems. All of these systems are really driving high modularity. So high flex to board connection points, small wire to board connection points that are all increasing the need for the products that we're developing out of Japan around board-to-board FPCs and particularly low-profile wire-to-board systems. And we're really seeing 4 key trends starting to take off. So more and more applications are having user interface, a way for the user to input and get information out. A good example of this would be on a transportation unit, more displays that communicate analytics and information into technicians that allow them to diagnose problems more efficiently and effectively, reducing costs and the time that that vehicle is down. You can say the same for building automation systems and also systems within the production line. The environments are changing. The requirement for higher speed, higher operating temperatures, and increased shock and buys are something that we are embracing and adapting into our new product development to make it easier for engineers to design in our products to address key points of pain. The number of features in applications are increasing. So the number of sensors that are capturing information, microphones, speakers used to communicate information, cameras that are capturing details through biometrics are all increasing the modularity of these devices. That is creating a very dense profile inside the device that has more flex to board, more wire to board that are ultra low profile, that have the need for mechanical locking systems, additional plating that we're all adapting in to make it easy for the designers to design in our wire-to-board systems, our board-to-board systems, our FPC systems, and are really addressing points of pain that they're seeing. So with this, I'll hand it over to Steve, and he'll go into details on our wire-to-board and MicroLock Plus.
Hey, good morning, everybody. I just wanted to start by talking about Molex. We have a big offering, so we're mainly an interconnect component connector company. So we look at connectors as really the building blocks, electromechanical building blocks of almost any type of electronics design solution. So we have lots of products in the connector space. We think that probably the most universal type, the most common type of interconnects are wire-to-wire or wire-to-board interconnects. So we have more than 100 different product families in that category. But that's a lot to choose from. So we've tried to break them down, and as a little bit of a tip in terms of trying to look at the basic ways to start segmenting wire-to-board connectors. The way we do it is take a look at the feature set of products. So we have, you can see here, basic, and then what we call enhanced and pro level products. And they pretty much follow those descriptions. So a basic interconnect wire-to-board will be a tin-plated friction lock system. Relatively low cost, low feature, and they get the job done when you need interconnect. As you moved into the enhanced product family, you'll get more features, you'll get more plating options, you'll get gold plating, you'll see positive locking systems, you'll see options for having terminal positions. So when you have a crimp terminal that's inserted into a housing, how to assure that that stays in position. We have options for that. You get into the pro option of the portfolio, those are going to be where you find ultra low profile machine contacts, high reliability systems. That might be a little bit more application specific, but within the whole wire to board product category, we can literally cover almost every application within that portfolio. And we do it with less than the 100 that we talk about in terms of product family. So if you take a look at the next slide, you'll see within that basic, enhanced, and pro lineup, on the left-hand column, you see the pitch, that's the center line spacing. So that pretty closely matches up with the XY profile of the product, so the size and the PCB real estate. So this is kind of a quick cheat sheet for trying to understand what your general XY dimensions are, what features you need, and what type of cost that you're playing with. You can choose from basic, enhanced, and pro in the Molex lineup. All of this is pretty easy to find on our website. Hold on. So let's talk specifically about one product family that shows up in the enhanced lineup in both 1.25 millimeter and 2 millimeter pitch, and that's the Microlock Plus product family. If you scroll down, Brett. So in this family, this is something that's relatively new. It was released in the last year by Molex. Again, this is really a flagship solution in terms of an enhanced product family that offers lots and lots of different features. So this will have the gold plating, the tin plating, dual row, single row, lots and lots of different features. So this type of product, when we talk about, Brad mentioned about the variety of different solutions that are coming to market under 5G and just general consumer applications. A product like Microlock Plus here, between the 1.25 millimeter and 2 millimeter pitch, you could find that used if you go to the next page. You can literally find that applications for this type of product in automotive, in digital cameras, home robotics, factory automation. As you get higher PCB density, general need for high reliability, smaller space, you can get one product family like Microlock Plus in your library and cover lots of different design needs as you go forward. So a couple of the key features on a product family like this, when you're studying wire-to-board products, you'll want to consider certain product features like the profile of the product in terms of the design envelope you have. In this case, we have two center line spacings, 1.25 millimeter and 2 millimeter. It's also something that is fully available in our distribution network. So if you need products to do some quick turn evaluation, those should be stocked in multiple circuit sizes in our distribution network. Also, there'll be cable assemblies that are already prepared in standard lengths, 1 meter, 2 meter, 3 meter, that you can utilize without buying a lot of crimp application tooling. This product family would have what we try to put into a lot of enhanced or pro products is multiple contact points. So you'll have redundancy in the contact point to help reliability. If you go to the next slide. This one also has what we call a positive lock. In the case of the dual row like this, it's an internally enclosed lock to save space. On the single row portion, we'll have quite a bit of design input for the operators and the assembly line to make it easy to assemble and also service. If you go to the next slide. And then as we develop this family, you'll see here on the slide, you'll see a TPA version, which is highlighted in the 3D model there. And that allows that the terminal, once inserted, that even once it goes into the application, it's got a secondary lock for that terminal, so it can be safe for years of service. When we have this, it'll be the smallest pitched TPA connector in the world. And then if you see below there, there's a PCB that has a conformal coating on that. We call that potting. So that can be used for dust proofing, environmental reliability, waterproofing, or even shock vibration for applications that might be exposed to the weather or any shock or high vibe environments. So those will be forthcoming this year. So that's a quick introduction to the Microlock Plus family and really a general introduction to Molex wire-to-board products and the segmentation of those, so it's easier to understand Molex's offering. We do have these, if you go to the next slide, a few raffles here, and we certainly want to open up to any questions about not only the Microlock Plus product family, but Molex wire-to-board offerings in general, and maybe even bigger than that, if you have questions about Molex.
Okay, Monica, we're going to hand it back over to you, and then we'll start going into the Q&A.
Sure, yeah. So we do have a few questions already. I'm going to go ahead and read the questions.
Yeah.
Okay, we have one from Arthur Timmermans who asks about thermal resistance of the connectors. Are there certain enhanced connectors that can withstand the heat of, for example, a soldering iron?
So it's a good question. So I'll take it in two parts, and thank you very much for the question. So thermal performance is something that's coming up more and more. So we've seen that in specific applications, automotive, or even in home appliance, hot water heaters, or home cooking. So it's, I'd say, not a standard request, but it's becoming more common. So yeah, we've taken a look at our different types of resins and our engineering capability and our manufacturing environment of how we can enhance products that might today be rated up to 90C or 100C, even up to 125 or 150. So I think going forward, it'll be something that, depending on the product family, we would see that as a bit of a unique offering. So you'll see that coming throughout different product families at Molex, but it's not something, it's still something we see as a bit of a niche, but we are looking into that for sure. I'd say for solder ironing, hand soldering, if you take a look at a lot of our product specifications, we do have a heat resistance to solder iron specification. Some have it, some don't. Those are primarily for reworking. So if a connector which is mounted on a board needs some rework, there may be a hand solder iron introduced. And in general terms, most of the connectors are going to meet that specification for rework. If it's a hand assembly process where there's a hand iron being applied to the assembly process, I'd say it might be a little bit case by case. You might want to check with Molex on the specific product. Some of those we would say are okay for that type of processing. Others we might need to look into. I hope that answers the question.
Okay, cool. We have one from Devanagaraj. So he asks, why do we need plating, and does the plating cost much?
Okay. A very good question. So most of the connector products that are on the market, the base material of the conductor is copper. That's brass, copper are the two most commonly used base metals. So either brass or copper are susceptible to corrosion over time. So if they're left untreated, meaning just bare or exposed, they tend to not be good long-term reliable surfaces for electric interconnect. Hence we plate. So the tin plating is the most common and the least costly. I'd say it's probably the most common plating in the industry, but even that long-term is going to have some environmental, it won't perform as well as gold in terms of like long-term, if there's a lot of humidity or gas exposure, or if the application needs, extended life, 5, 10, 20 years of known life. The tin in general is cheaper, but it's not going to have the life expectancy as gold. And then even within gold, you have different thicknesses of gold, and the thickness is pretty much directly related to the reliability, the life expectancy of the product. So you see really thick gold used in telecommunications equipment or military, or even telecommunications where the extended life might be 20 or 30 years. And yes, there is a significant cost difference between a gold system and a tin system.
Okay, we have another question from Anonymous. I'm working on a drone application that will be exposed to rough handling and vibration. You mentioned a positive lock feature, but want this to take up extra room in my design.
Yep, so I think if you've got something like a drone where you've got multiple cycles many times, especially if it's a battery pack interconnect, or even if it's something that might need serviced, the friction lock type of product saves space, and it might be okay depending on the application. It's just easier to dislatch, and it's easier to unmate. So you just have to look at that trade-off of how exposed is that in the application, how likely is it the user is going to unmate it and know how to unmate it or damage it during unmating, versus the space that the positive lock is going to take up. We would generally say that we'd caution to use something that didn't have a positive lock if the expectation is it's going to go through multiple mating cycles.
Yeah, and then also, Steve, I think then the MicroLock Plus then offers some particular advantages with having a mechanical lock feature, but then also offering extreme space savings with the single row having the mechanical lock that is flush with the header, and then the internal lock with the door row, still allowing that robustness, but not sacrificing profile. So that's really the value add that the MicroLock Plus is bringing to the market with offering low profile mechanical locking features for that high shock and vibe application.
Thanks, Brett. Yep, I agree.
All right, we have one from Gautam Guru who asks, what are your solutions for exposed waterproof connectors that are simple to maintain?
I think waterproofing it's a good general question. So in general, waterproof, to get a connector that might have an IP rating of like IP67 or 69 that would have a submergible or heavy splash proof type rating for water or dust. They tend to be expensive. They tend to have multiple components for this to get the seal to a really high level of integrity. So Molex does have some offerings. We have a product that we actually call Value Seal. You can look it up on our website, Value Seal, and it's a two-shot molded IP67 rated wire-to-wire. And we try to keep it very simple so you don't have any assembly of components or different types of seals that can fall out of the application. So the more that it's integrated into one piece, the less you have to maintain. Typically, the cheaper it might be or less costly. But we have a few different systems. Value Seal MX150 is a product that is a little bit more automotive rated, but those are all waterproof sealed systems. So more simple, the simpler the better, I would say.
So Monica, if I can just show the participants real fast how to navigate to find the information on the website for both the Microlock Plus and Sealed products, it might be a good time to do that.
Definitely, yeah.
So this is Molex.com. So once you're on Molex.com, initial landing page or home page, you just go to products. And from there, you go to wired boards. So depending on what type of wired board you're looking at, we have it broken down into 4 areas: power, signal, I/O, and sealed. So going back to that question, if you're looking for our sealed product wired board options, you just click on sealed, and then you have all the product offerings that Steve was just going over. If you want to find more information about the wired board systems that were highlighted during this webinar, you would go to Signal, and then go to Core Signal Connectors. And then once you're into this page, you will be able to find information on all of our core products. And these are really products that are product families that offer value, that go anywhere from a 1 millimeter pitch all the way up to a 2.5 millimeter pitch, from 1 to 3 amps of current offering. We have several different types focusing on 12 product families. If you click on the product family, so let's look at the Microlock Plus, it immediately takes you into the product family page where you can find additional information about the specific designs, either in single roll, dual roll, all the different header configurations. And then if you scroll all the way down and go to literature, you're able to pull up various data sheets that really walk you through the features and benefits of what the product family has to offer. And then if you go into, if you're looking for a dual roll vertical header, you can click on that, and then you, depending on the circuit size and plating type, you can click on the part number, and it takes you into specific details in regards to the product specifications, packing spec, and then drawing and 3D models. So that's just a quick walkthrough of how you would find the additional information on any of these product families through the Molex website.
Great, thank you. We have another question, if you're ready for that. Arthur Timmermans asked, do there also exist connectors that can be used one time? Like, so when you connect it, you can't really disconnect it without destroying it, for example.
I'm sorry, could you repeat the question, Monica?
Yeah, it's about, are there connectors that can only be used one time? So they're just connected once and they're not able to be disconnected.
I think they're referring to permanent mating.
Yes.
So I would say this, I don't know the details of the application. So most of the interconnects that we actually sell, or actually that we're showing, even like that Microlock Plus, so they're designed to be unmateable, or typically these are specified for up to 30 mating cycles. So yeah, they can be unmated if tried. we would assume most of the time they're not, but usually if you end up with a permanent type of interconnects, there's something, there's usually something mechanically like a screw that limits the unmating. There's not a lot of integrated system in our connectors that would keep it from being unmated, I guess.
Yeah, and then if they're looking for something with like very high mated retention force, we have several product families that are designed specifically for those product family or for that type of harsh environment that have very robust locking systems that will stay secure during high shock and vibe situations.
Cool, thanks. Gutham Goober also has a follow-up question he asked in the chat. He's asked, so all sealed connectors are splash proof?
I wouldn't say necessarily all. The way that Molex looks at something, if we're going to seal something or market something or specify it as sealed, it would be rare that it wouldn't be, you know, what we would call dust proof or splash proof. I think the biggest challenge in sealing a connector is what we would call the submerge test. So it has to be under a certain amount of water volume for, say, 30 minutes. That kind of takes it into a very different level of specification. So I wouldn't say all, you might want to just double check, but in general terms, from Molex's point of view, if we market something as sealed, it would be splash and dust proof, yes.
Okay, okay. Okay, we have another anonymous question. Someone asks, I didn't see anything application specific on the MicroLock Plus. Can you provide any details?
Sure, I would say this. So a lot of times we make connector products that are very specific to an application or to an industry. You know, we have an automotive division that makes lots of systems that really are specific for automotive. So this type of wire to board system like MicroLock Plus and a lot of families like it are the opposite of that. So something like this, literally we got designed into like a VR system, a VR headset, and it gets designed into an automotive application for like side switch controllers for the seat control systems. It can get designed into a Note PC. It can get designed into the control board for heating and air conditioning unit. Simultaneously, we could be selling into all of those applications with the exact same part number. So, and I say that just to kind of, that's the reality. So there really isn't any specific application. I just say for this one, it's really a good fit where the board real estate is a premium, and you need something that's taking up as least amount of space as possible, that's really going to be easy to use for the operator in the factory to assemble it and to confirm that it's been mated, and it's going to have a long life to it. It's going to be able to be, you know, put into an application that you can be confident won't have a issue because of the interconnect. So it's designed for being robust and versatile.
Cool. We have another question about magnetic connector types and if they're available and where they would be applicable if you do.
So we have some magnet interconnects. I would say this, from what I can see, there's not a lot of general magnetic interconnects at the moment. They tend to be customer or application specific. But in general, the trend is increasing slowly in terms of the market need for those or adoption of those types of systems. They just would definitely be in that category, which I showed in terms of pro. We would look at a magnetic system as being a high-end interconnect solution.
Cool. anybody else has any more Q&A, please ask it now. Looks like we have a question about the website, about how can I easily navigate to find 1 amp to 2.5 amp wire to board signal connectors? Could you show us that?
Yeah, we can run through that. So we'll just go back to Molex's homepage. So if you go to products, and probably the easiest way to get there is go to wire to boards. And then what you'll see, if you go to signal and then core products, design guides, and this is a general matrix of all the core product wire to board systems. And you scroll down and you see it's categorized by pitch, product family, terminal, housing, header type, and then plating, and then locking type, circuit size, wire to gauge, and there's your current and voltage. So then you would be able to scroll down, and through all those different options, you'll be able to find the particular wire to board that will fit your specific application or connection point need.
Oh, great, that's really helpful. Okay, unless anyone else has any more Q&A, I think that was all of the questions. So Brad and Steve, where can people reach you if they have more questions after the webinar?
They can reach me. My email address is pretty simple. It's my first initial, S as in Steve, and then my last name, Drysdale, at Mark, and then Molex.com. I'm happy to field any questions that come in myself. I'd be happy to help or answer them or direct them to someone who can, for sure.
Okay, great.
And then my email address is the same. It will be beisler@molex.com, and the same goes. Any questions that we would be able to help you with, more than happy to.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day. Enjoy the 4th.
Yeah, have a great weekend. Thanks everyone for attending. All right. And we'll be sending out the slides afterwards, as well as the recording to everyone who attended. And we'll also be raffling off these products, so stay tuned for that. Thanks again.